Good morning sa mga gising pa ngayong oras na to na 12:20 a.m. So ako si P. Renada, reporter ng Rappler at kakaparinig lang namin sa speech ni President Rodrigo Duterte kanina. Actually, it was this earlier tonight or this evening na nakipag-meeting siya sa mga IATF EID officials pero in-air yung kanyang speech mga 10:30. So, ngayon, i-recap ko para sa inyo kung ano yung sinabi niya. Malaman yung speech niya today kasi marami siyang updates at syempre alam natin nakaka-declare lang ng ECQ until April 4 sa NCR+. So, one of the most important things na sinabi ni Presidente kanina was yung kanyang promise na magkakaayuda yung mga taong affected by the ECQ until April 4. But actually, yung in-announce kanina is aid for 80% of the low-income population of those places under ECQ. So that's Metro Manila, Cavite, Bulacan, Rizal, and Laguna. And sinabi ni Budget Secretary Wendell Avisado na 22.9 million individuals will get 1,000 pesos worth of aid per person, but a maximum of 4,000 pesos worth of aid per family. So, if you're asking, sino ang makatanggap nito, hindi lahat technically ng affected. Kasi yung number na yan, yung 22.9 million, is only referring to the low-income individuals in those areas. So, alam naman natin na hindi naman lahat ng affected ay mga low-income lang. Siyempre, may mga businesses rin, mga middle class, na yung businesses nila nagsara, hindi pa malinaw kung sila rin makakuha ng ayuda. Kasi hindi pa rin natin alam kung yung DOLE or yung DTI will be giving assistance separately aside from this donation, this in-kind aid given to those indigent or those poor families and individuals. So, yun, 1,000 per person in-kind. Hindi pa natin alam kung anong in-kind exactly. Is this food? Is this rice packs? Is this we don't know. Hindi pa klaro kung ano exactly in-kind to. At sinabi ni Budget Secretary Avisado na posibleng magdagdag yung LGUs doon sa aid na ito. Sabi ni Duterte na isa-sign daw niya, i-approve daw niya immediately once he sees the document on his table, itong proposal ni Budget Secretary Wendell Avisado. Yung isa pang in-announce ng Presidente ay gusto niyang i-expedite yung proseso by which private companies can secure COVID-19 vaccine. So, alam natin na naging controversy ito, di ba, nung mga nakaraang linggo, yung mga nagsasabi na bakit hindi pinapayagan yung mga private firms na kumuha directly from the manufacturers ng sarili nilang COVID-19 vaccines. So, ang totoo dito is actually hindi naman sila pinagbabawalan. It's just that sinasabi ng government, kailangan pag mag-strike kayo ng deal with these manufacturers, involved yung government. Kasi under emergency use pa lang ang mga vaccines at kailangan nandyan yung government to ensure indemnification and payment for indemnification. So, yung sinasabi lang ni Presidente ay sinabihan niya si Secretary Galvez, yung vaccine czar, na sign all the documents that the private sector needs to come up with these agreements. So, in essence, sinasabi niya, go na, private sector, please just secure your own COVID-19 vaccines. Government will facilitate, government will approve it because I need you to bring in these vaccines ASAP. So, you can note the desperation in the voice of the President. Medyo noticeable na parang, okay, talagang at his wit's end siya. Desperate siya to make sure that the vaccines really cover most of the population immediately. And alam niya na hindi magagawa ng gobyerno yon by itself. Sinabi nga niya na limitado yung supply na nakuha ng gobyerno. Kaya kung yung private sector, kung ano man makuha yung vaccine, go na. Just orderin nyo na and I will make sure that these vaccines, walang obstacles yung vaccines in terms of government approvals. So, isang malaking bagay yun. Diba? Go signal siya to the private sector to start making deals with the with the vaccine makers themselves. Siguro yung mga iba pang sinabi niya is that, let me look through my notes. Yun, isang notable rin dun sa speech ni Presidente ay may may hint talaga siya of nahihirapan na talaga siya dun sa pandemic response. And may mga sinabi nga siya na we are back to zero. Sabi niya, halos back to zero tayo dito. Tapos sinabi rin niya, bakit ganon? And he tried to defend government, saying that we are doing our best, getting the vaccine from everywhere. Sabi niya, stretch your patience and understanding. We're doing our best. We are not a vaccine-producing country. Wala tayong expertise, scientific knowledge. Naghihintay lang tayo ng vaccine. At sabi pa niya, gusto ko na nga umiyak sa harap ninyo, pero naubos na luha ko. Para akong dumaan ng purgatorio ngayon at this time. So, merong sort of, there's this, even close to an appeal or parang a plea for help sa kanyang statement na parang he's really at his wit's end, hindi niya alam, parang very down siya by this pandemic. And he even said that the pandemic daw takes most of his time. Parang most of his papers yung kanyang pinag-aabalahan yung pandemic. And note that just a few days ago, he had his 76th birthday. So I guess, diba, if you believe what he's saying tonight, he probably did not have a good birthday kasi mukhang malaking problema for him yung pandemic. As it should be. I mean, obviously the pandemic is a very, very complex problem and lahat naman tayo, diba, na may problema about the pandemic. So, yun yung sabi niya. And another important announcement he made tonight was yung new quarantine classifications for April. So, kung natatandaan nyo, alam naman natin na hanggang April 4, yung NCR Plus ay under ECQ. But what about the rest of the country? So, in-announce niya na yung Quirino Province and Santiago City, Isabela, sila ay under MECQ starting April 1. Now, for Quirino, hanggang April 15 yung kanyang MECQ, but for for Santiago City, hanggang April 30. And then, yung ibang areas naman, like, na under GCQ naman, ay Cordillera Region, Cagayan, Isabela, Nueva Vizcaya, Batangas, Tacloban City, Iligan City, Davao City, and Lanao del Sur. So, yun yung mga GCQ areas until April 30. The rest of the country will be under the lowest quarantine classification or MGCQ. So, hindi pa natin alam kung nag-decision siya on the extension of ECQ in NCR Plus. Hindi na-mention yon at all during the meeting tonight. So, we will try to find out tomorrow kung may updates dito from that meeting. So that's all that I have for you for this Rappler Recap. May mga stories na kaming nasulat about what the president said. You can head on to rappler.com to find out what exactly yung stories na yon kasi may mas mahabang explanation of the policies in those stories. So, again, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Rappler Recap. We hope we were able to summarize the meeting well for you. Till the next time. Good night.